the road. We're back on the London roads. The weekend we was at Islington for the demonstration at Hackney Town Hall since Saturday. Wow, my phone's been off the hook. People from all over London who are up in arms, about the purge of London roads, which is low traffic neighbourhoods, LTNs, the dreaded planters. Today I'm here in Greenwich, the Royal Borough of Greenwich, just the other side of Greenwich Park, to speak to Sharon Kent, London cab driver, suburban driver, campaigner, activist, you name it. She's done a lot, all against anti-LTNs. So I'm going to go over and see Sharon and speak to her and see how we're getting on in the Borough of Greenwich. Okay, here we are. Sharon, lovely to meet you.
Hello, Grant.
Lovely. I hope I've named you right. I've said Sharon Kent, campaigner, suburban driver. Anything else I've missed?
Well, I wouldn't have gone as far as the activist, but I am concerned about the area and how it's affecting a lot of our citizens that pay taxes in this area and they haven't been consulted and their lives have been seriously affected.
I mean, that's your view. What about your neighbours' view? Are they as upset as you, or do they just shrug their shoulders and say, well, what can we do, you know?
Well, my neighbours are still supportive of me. One proposed me for running for council, and another one seconded me. And I've got cyclists in my road that are members of LCC, and they have openly told me that the cycle lanes that Greenwich has given them to use are just not fit for purpose.
No good.
No good. They're not safe. Not safe at all.
So the local councils have paid good money to get these cycle lanes put down on the road, but they're no good.
Yeah, but it's not the local councils that's paid for it. It's us taxpayers that have paid for it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and we weren't consulted, and they just threw them together, and they haven't done any impact studies on anybody, the public, the disabled, the children. They haven't done any research.
Sharon, how do you, like me, I just can't get my head around that the majority of Londoners who are seeing this going on, right, the blocking up of roads, making it harder for small businesses, elderly residents, residents with children, the elderly, you name it, it impacts majorly on every class. But where's the people on the streets? What's going on?
Yeah, well, we don't have anybody on the streets. You see, they put in these cycle lanes and they're not being used by the cyclists that they're designed for. And I did have a thought process at the moment, but I've just lost my train. The measures that they've put in aren't fit for purpose, and that's basically it. We understand when they close a road for school hours to protect the school children coming and going from school. We understand that, and that doesn't affect local traffic. But when they institute road closures and force this local traffic to go out to a main highway just to go around the block because they can't get through a bollard, and it adds 15 minutes plus pollution from their vehicles to get to where they need to go because they're too infirm or unable with 3 kids in tow to get to the local shops by bike, which is what they're trying to encourage everyone to do. It's just not possible. You can't take 3 kids that go to different schools by bike.
No, it's ridiculous, ridiculous.
Right? And they closed all these roads. They closed West Greenwich. They just closed it down overnight. No warning. The bollards just went in, and a lot of people got confused, drove in, found, couldn't go any further, turn around. The only way they could go is Greenwich South Street, or they come back here to Maze Hill.
It's crazy.
And then, because the traffic congestion caused by West Greenwich shut down, they was proposing, let's just shut down Maze Hill, Vanbrugh Hill, West Coombe Hill, and we'll just make it worse, and then just push all the traffic out to Charlton.
Unbelievable. Like we was talking about earlier, you are a local resident, and you was telling me the reason you got involved in the first place was when people was on social media talking about the problems, desperation was creeping in. Is that the initial push that made you get involved?
Yes, because I heard a lot of people complaining, but I didn't see anyone standing up and trying to make a difference. Because until you actually vocalise your complaints to the people that can do something about it, it all is it's just social media, and they'll just ignore you.
It's just hot air at the end of the day,
Yeah.
rather than that, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, you did make a point that, when the planters was in the road, that didn't happen overnight, did it?
Well, they arrived overnight, but can't build planters like that in 24 hours notice. They knew what they were doing. They'd been planning this a long time.
Yeah. And how's the relationship now with people like yourself, like-minded residents, and the council? Is I'm not going to say they're caving in, but is there any cracks appearing in their position
What? They're not.
with the LTNs? Are they?
No, they're still
second-
strongly against them.
Yeah. But what about the council? Are they?
Well, I think the council's starting to cave. We have had notice from a new councillor posted to the transport position in Greenwich Council, who's notified us that they are going to open up Hyde Vale. They're going to take the bollards out. They're going to put cameras in. But this morning they announced that they were going to open it up between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. to alleviate congestion in rush hour for all traffic.
But then after 9 o'clock, it all goes back. Cameras.
It will go back to cameras, and it will be open for emergency vehicles only, because the emergency departments, the ambulance and the fire departments have all been, and the police have been complaining to Greenwich Council, saying that it's not good enough. They need the access to get through these roads because people's lives are in danger.
But you know what? Part of me think that's a little bit tricky there, because if you're coming down in the morning and you go through it, no problem. Maybe during the day or other times you come back, automatically you think that's open to me, and you're going to go down there and you're going to get a ticket, aren't you?
Well, it should be clearly signposted.
But if it's clearly signposted, they won't get the money in fines, will they?
Well, there you go.
Will they? They won't let you in.
No, it is. The LTNs has never ever really been about the safety of people. It's always about what the council can get from the residents.
And while I'm having a chat with you today, I spoke with Eddie Nestor on BBC Radio London last night. There was people phoning in pro and against LTNs, and maybe you're probably more intelligent than me, Sharon. How do you equate closing off roads like this, or small roads? How does that help recovery from COVID?
I can't see how it does anything for COVID.
No,
All it does is boost the coffers at the councils.
So if you're watching this and you know the answer, email the LCDC@gmail.com with a title, "The Reason LTNs Help COVID Is," and address it to me, Grant Davis, please. Yeah. Sharon.
Yes.
Taxi support. We see you're a suburban driver. I mean, it's hard enough earning a living in London and in the suburbs. When they start closing roads, it's very negative for the cab trade, because people can't get to where they want to go. How do you find it affecting suburban?
People can get to where they want to go. It would just cost them a lot more, because we are not exempt from these road closures, just like everybody else, and we have to take them the only route that we can, and the passengers don't like it, and they complain that, I asked my taxi to take me so and so, but they could only get me this far because of a bollard. Well, yes, we could get you to your door, but it's going to cost you, and that's not fair to them.
And the whole point of the knowledge of London, Green Badge and Suburban, is the reason you go and get tested on appearances is to go from A to B as the crow flies, the shortest. So these LTNs are deliberately impinging on our work and practices, on how we deliver a service to the public.
Yes, it does, and we don't like it.
No, we don't. We really don't like it. I noticed as well, we was chatting before we was talking today, that you've almost become a bit of a sort of Twitter celebrity in the sense that you've got your own troll now. you got your own taxi troll. It's pathetic, this one. What's the name of your troll, Sharon?
Well, if I could be so bold, but
Do you want me to name him?
I don't think it's fair to name him, is it really? Because, I mean,
It is.
it is. Is it really?
Come on. Have a vote. Is it fair to troll?
Okay.
Not the troll, but who's the troller?
Hello, Guido.
Guido Acasa. Surprise, surprise. You know, he's related to Heidi Alexander, you know, the Deputy Mayor for Transport.
I didn't before I spoke to you 15 minutes ago.
Well, he is, and I hope all the cab trade knows he is as well. I mean, all you're doing is standing up for the rights of your fellow cab drivers and residents in areas that are affected. So, in what sense does he troll you?
Oh, he's just very argumentative. He's the devil's advocate on every subject. It doesn't matter what the subject is. He will just put a knife in and try and get you to rise up to it, but I won't do it.
Oh, yeah, he does that with the LCDC sometimes. I mean, it's all a bit sad, and you'd think he'd probably go and get a life, but there you go.
Yeah, but this isn't about him.
No.
This is about the residents in the communities in the London boroughs that have been really hurt by the actions that our local councils have taken at the instigation of money provided by TfL, provided by the Department for Transport, and it's an agenda that has not been consulted on. There's been no impact studies done, and it's affecting a lot of more people than they think.
I couldn't agree more, Sharon. I think it's absolutely disgraceful. As I said, on July the 19th, when COVID restrictions comes to an end, if they was brought in under the pretense of COVID, then on July the 20th, throughout London, these should be gone.
Yes.
But I bet you 50p, they're still here.
I bet you they can't tear up Creek Road overnight.
What is happening at Creek Road?
Creek Road, they put in a dual lane cycle lane on the north side of the road, and therefore restricting the traffic flow to one lane in each direction, and they've made it so that you can't pass. So emergency vehicles in stop traffic, if there's a bus stopped at a stop or it breaks down, God forbid they break down, then traffic can't pass. There was one occasion, and I know I'm jumping from Creek Road to Woolwich Road, but near the fire station, they had a problem where they had a broken down lorry, and the police actually came along and took the wands out from the cycle lane restriction to allow traffic to pass.
What a state of affairs. Londoners, what are we doing putting up with this? Come on. Stand up. We was at Islington and Hackney on Saturday. There's a grand swell of concern and outrage by normal Londoners in every borough, like yourself, like myself, like the guys in Islington and Hackney and Tower Hamlets. They're saying, how have we got into this situation? Who's accountable? And maybe that's what it's going to need, that local councillors get voted out.
Well, we try.
We try.
We
All
can only
do
try.
is try. Yeah.
So I'm going to stand again next May. Anyone that wants to vote for me, please do so. I'm still an independent. I've got no agenda other than to help you. I'll be your voice.
And that's what Londoners need, because normal working people just feel no one represents them. They haven't got a voice, and they look in the wilderness for someone to stand up and say, you know what, I'm thinking what you're thinking. They need to get behind someone, and in Greenwich, it's got to be Sharon Kent.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Pleasure. Well, there you go. Sharon Kent here in Greenwich, echoing what's been said throughout all London boroughs. LTNs are bad, bad, bad news. So if you like this interview, there's others here about LTNs, Hackney and all other areas. So it's LCDC TV. Please press the like button, press subscribe, but more importantly, we've got comments. So if there's anything that Sharon has said that you agree with or disagree with, leave some comments and we'll get back to them. Yeah? Fantastic. Thanks for watching.